About a year ago, I posted a video on the Palram 8x4 lean-to grow house. It's like a small greenhouse. The setup and kind of the initial build of this greenhouse that I attached to the side of my home. And so I thought now would be a good time, a year later, to kind of show you what I have in here, show you kind of the interior space, give you an idea of what it looks like with plants inside of it, and just give you my thoughts on the greenhouse as a whole. Would I buy it again? Do I think it was worthwhile investment? How did it do over the winter? Things like that. All right, so inside, directly across from the door, I've got a small shelf, plastic shelving. This shelving is 3 feet by 2 feet, and I've only got 2 of them there. I usually keep just kind of my potting soil, my water bucket, some work gloves and things like that. I've got a couple of plants here, I'll tell you about those in a minute. And then on this side, and it's kind of tight in here, so I'll try to do my best, I have another 3 by 2 shelving system, but this time with 3 racks in there, and of which I'm really only using the top 2. Just to show you the plants that I have, I've got some watermelon seeds that I'm waiting on them to kind of come up, and we've got a little growth there, and there, still waiting on those slow pokes to come around. I've got some tomatoes, actually, that I did not do those from seed. I purchased those, and one reason I wanted to do this video is because I need to get those into my garden, and I wanted to show you those in here before I put them in my garden. On the second shelf, I've got some cucumbers and mixed vegetables, as well as some herbs. Now, I did buy a lot of these. I will tell you that I have had this parsley here, the catnip back here, and the garden sage here. I kept those in here all winter, and they survived fine, and I do not have a heating element in here at all, and it's actually not really sealed, and I'll show you that in just a moment against the house. Getting back to the 2 plants down here, this is a rosemary little shrub, and I also have some bluebells that were kind of handed down to me from my family. And both of these, as well as those herbs that I mentioned, the catnip and the sage, did survive the winter in here with no troubles. Okay, so I wanted to talk you through just a couple of potential issues. In the original video from a year ago, I mentioned that I was having trouble with the door not really staying closed, and there's this gap. I don't know if you can see this. There's a gap right here that I could just about, as we go down, stick my finger inside of. And that really, I can't keep that closed. The trouble, it's gonna be tough to show, but the trouble is up here with the door. I think it's kind of bent or warped, so the top part is making contact while the bottom part is not. I do keep a stone that I can lean up against the door, and that way, especially in high winds, it kind of helps just from the door from popping open. Certainly that's a trouble spot with with the greenhouse. I don't know that that's that way on every single house, if that door is always a problem, but I can say on mine it has been an issue, but not a really big problem, and I'm able to work around it. As you can see, it's held up really nicely. Here in the slats, there's this air space here. It has gotten a little moisture there. There seems to be like a little crack here. I don't know if maybe a limb from a tree above maybe fell and hit it, but there's a little crack. I probably need to try to seal that off. So it's gotten a little moisture, you can see in there, and because of that, there may be also a little interior like mildew or something, but overall not bad at all. These panes, even though they seem really flimsy, they have held up no problem in any kind of storms that we've had here. I've got a little rain catcher to my gutter, so I've been getting all the free water I can get for my plants. Other than that, it's been really nice. It's not completely sealed off, and that is because I did not go against a flat like concrete wall or even brick wall. I went straight against the siding, so you can see, try to get you close, but you can see that I have air gaps here, right? That's going directly in there. I have really racked my brain on how to seal that off. I've thought about trying to jam pieces of foam in there, but of course that's a lot of little slats to fill in. I thought about getting the spray foam I actually bought a couple of cans of spray foam, but I'm so nervous to use it because it can get messy, and I don't really know if I want that spray foam stuff right on my vinyl siding like this. But honestly, I did not seal it off over the winter. I did not put a heating element in there, and the majority of the plants that I was really concerned about keeping over the winter kept fine. Now, I'm here in North Carolina. We don't have really super cold winters. It's usually around freezing. We might have cold snaps that make it, you know, into the mid-teens to 25, but those don't usually last for much longer than about a week or so. Alright, so there it is, the Palram 8x4 lean-to grow house a year later. And if I was to be asked the question, would you buy this again? My answer would be yes. Now, I will say this, I'm a very amateur grower. I have a very amateur gardener. I don't know that I could handle some big giant greenhouse. So for me, the tiny space in here has been fine. I wanted a reason to get into greenhousing, right? If that's a word. I wanted to get started in it, and this is a great, like, I feel starter greenhouse, grow house. I would have been overwhelmed with a lot more space. Now, that being said, if you have a lot of experience and you're looking to, you know, do lots of plants in a greenhouse, this might not be the one for you, because even though there is good space inside, you can see even after shelving like I showed you, you're only left with a small corridor. But I would say if you're an amateur gardener and you're just looking to get into it, that this is a really great option. And I've really enjoyed having it. That's about it. I'm not here to tell you whether you should buy it or shouldn't buy it. I just want to give you my opinion and show you what I've been doing with it, and I hope that's helpful to you. So I am going to quit running my mouth. I'm going to go get some of these tomatoes and vegetables out of my greenhouse and go put them in my garden so they can start growing properly. So hope this video has been helpful to you. Thank you for the views and for the support. I appreciate you. Take care.